Presented by McDonald's of Glasgow, it's time for the Brown Sports Bag from the Heart of the Barrens, a weekly local sports machine. Alongside John Butler, here's your host, James Brown.
Okay, once I turn on the mics, we're kicking off this week. We're going to start off with a little discussion with Mark Woodcock. He's trying to track down some people who would like to be softball officials. I imagine there's probably a little bit of an official shortage in all the spring sports at the moment because it takes a little while to get everybody to kind of get back and get in the rhythm of the sports and that kind of thing. I know we've had some official shortage in other sports the last couple of years. It's not been as bad around here, but there have been other states that have had some real issues. So how do you go about trying to find people who want to get out there and help in softball?
Sure, James. Well, first of all, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to get the word out a little bit. I'm with the Kentucky High School Athletic Association, and I'm hired by the 4th Region to recruit, train, and assign officials for the games. And it's our region runs from all the way from Todd Central all the way to Clinton County up to Russell County, so it's a big area, so it makes it tough to recruit.
Yeah. Well, and I had a map that I put online last week because they made some changes, the KHSA did, to some of how the 4th Region is set up a little bit, and the non-classified sports, which will include softball. And if anybody looked at that map, they have an idea just how far people you have to travel in the 4th Region. But what are some of the key ways that you go about trying to recruit folks, especially to officiate softball? Okay,
well, the recruitment effort has, like you said, it's been lacking in the last few years as far as numbers of officials. But one of the main incentives is the money. It's a fair pay for what you do for about 3 or 4 hours of work in the afternoon, and also it gives an individual who's been involved in athletics, an opportunity to give back to the game, and I really feel like maybe that's more of it than the money is.
Yeah, I guess it gives them an opportunity when they can't play anymore to be still involved in the athletics that they love and that kind of thing. Is that right?
Oh yeah, definitely, most definitely. Our season is still about almost 2 months away right now, but of course our meetings are beginning to get together now and start our training and everything. Our scrimmage games and season that starts the first week of March and runs through May, so it's about a 3.5-4 month span through there.
Yeah. What did the meetings and trainings entail?
Well, of course, the Kentucky High School Athletic Association furnishes with training materials, and we're involved with the National Federation also, and a lot of it is training. A lot of the training is done during scrimmage games, and of course, there's a commitment as far as finance. You have to buy the proper uniform to be able to call the game, but it's a good opportunity.
You mentioned the pay. Generally speaking, like I think it's graduated based on the level that you're officiating, like freshman, JV, middle school, high school, different pay depending on the level. Is that right?
Yeah. Varsity pay is $65 a game, and anything under that level, which is junior varsity, freshman, or middle school, pays $47.50 a game. So you can make about $113 a night.
Yeah. So about how many officials do we need in the 4th Region?
Well, that's as many as we can get. We average around in the mid-30s. Of course, when you're doing this, you have to be able to get off work around 3:30 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon because you have some travel involved. Like I say, we have such a big area. I try to keep officials in their particular different areas as much as possible, but that makes it difficult too.
Yeah, like if you being the assigner / recruiter, how many officials would you like to see to kind of keep the load at a reasonable level for you guys?
Around 40.
Yeah.
Around 40, and of course, the biggest part of my base is in the Bowling Green and Glasgow area.
Mm-hmm. how many do you have as you're kicking off this at the moment?
Well, COVID put a hit on us last year. I think that I had some officials that didn't want to do it because of that, and everything was down a little bit. And we were down in around 32, I believe we finished with last year.
Okay.
And we're wanting to try to, to be able to build that number up to around 40. Between 40 and 43 is a good number. I've been doing this for a little over 20 years. And that's usually the number that we've operated at. We've had as many as 50, but that's been several years ago, and we've been as low as 25, which was extremely difficult.
I was going to say, that gets into the realm of now you have to start telling people, well, we may not be able to play this game on this night because we're not going to have anybody who can.
Yeah, we've had to do that a few times also, and I've had to go out of region also sometimes to get officials, for tournaments and things of that nature.
Well, so let's say somebody wants to do this. How do they get in touch with you, or how do they get started?
Okay, good deal. Now, this is for fast pitch softball. But if you're interested in baseball also, Phil Burkeen, Chick Burkeen, he's in charge of that. But if you can contact me, I can forward you that information. Again, my name is Mark Woodcock. You can give me a phone call at 270-646-8994, or text me, or I'm on Facebook, Messenger. I'm very accessible.
They can track you down, huh?
They can find me, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And we put a post on our website, 104thescore.com. It's on there talking about you guys looking for officials. It's got that contact information on there as well. So we'll put out another social media post so that people can see that and go to that link and get in touch with you that way as well.
Sure, appreciate it, James.
Oh, yeah, no problem. One last thing here about the training and that kind of thing. How long does that generally take? What is the time frame? So that if somebody wants to do this, they need to know how soon they need to get in touch with you.
Well, we're still well inside the window right now. Our next meeting is February the 20th. Mm-hmm. And like I said, the season doesn't start until I think it's March the 14th. It's when the first scrimmage games are. And then we have a week of that before regular season begins. So we're in the training period right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good. So anybody out there who's interested in doing the fast pitch softball or the baseball, as Mark mentioned, Burkeen handles that side of the training and the recruiting, I guess.
Right.
They can get in touch with you at that phone number. Can you give that number one more time?
Sure. It's 270-646-8994.
All right. So I'm going to go a little off script on you here, Mark. So for all you parents who know how to call these games so well, it's time for you to go ahead and get out there and get in touch with him so you can get behind the plate and get the necessary training so you can see those balls and strikes clearly. And you can't get a better view than back there behind the plate or down that first base or third base line. You can see all the action real clear from there.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, it's Brown Sports Bag brought to you by McDonald's of Glasgow. We'll be right back.
Presented by McDonald's of Glasgow, it's back to the studio with James and John, the Brown Sports Bag.
I want to thank Mark Woodcock for coming by and talking to us about recruiting softball officials. Good luck to him in that endeavor. Your kids can't play the games if they don't have officials out there, and if you want to see them play sometimes, I'd like to say I would step up and do it, but I got a day job and a night job, so it makes it a little difficult. But for those who are in a position to get out there and do that, officiate, I think that's a great thing. I think they should do it, and as we've said on here before, maybe the parents need to lay off because they don't see the action in the same way.
The money's good enough.
Yeah.
That's not the problem. But it is these guys and occasionally some gals in all sports. They take a lot of stuff that I don't think a lot of people feel like they want to take.
Yeah, and if these people who dish it out would occasionally turn around and ask themselves, would I like to be yelled at all the time whenever I'm working? I probably would quit working there. Just think about that. Think about others sometimes, I guess. All right, let's talk about the NFL playoffs. Speaking of others, we will start with this Bills-Chiefs game. I don't think I've ever seen a wilder 2 minutes of football ever that I can recall. And we'll talk about the overtime thing a little bit here in a little bit, but those 2 minutes from 1 minute 53 until the zeros when the Chiefs tied the game with the field goal, also may have been the greatest quarterback play we've seen in 2 minutes out of two quarterbacks that I can recall as well. How about you, John?
Yeah, it's great. Great. It was a great game. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I mean, arguably the two best teams in football playing in a semifinal game.
Yeah, that looked like the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they did. They really did. And for whatever reason, they're both played earlier than probably should be, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes was, great. I don't know how else to say. I mean, great's overused, but they were incredible.
Yeah.
And the defenses were incredibly awful. Well, and I really mean that. And that has not been – I've listened to some of the talk shows and things like that, and Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes they make incredible throws.
Yeah.
And Josh Allen probably does even more things because he takes they ask him to do everything. I mean,
on that go-ahead drive.
Yeah, but it wasn't scrambles. It was just design runs. Hey,
they basically just went heavy, and he just ran the ball and ran over them.
But they both make incredible plays. But defensively, I mean, there's some defensive coordinators in the playoffs that everybody's pronouncing that they should be head coaching material. Mm-hmm. I mean, their performances in both teams, Kansas City's defense was terrible the second half.
Yeah.
Buffalo was horrible. I mean, horrible. The Rams' defense was bad in the second half.
Well, their offense certainly put them in a bunch of bad
Yeah, I mean, there was some bad, but they also made bad plays, too. Let's just be honest with you. And Tampa Bay's made bad plays.
Yeah, I don't know.
I know it's hard to stop great quarterbacks.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, for example, Buffalo, with 13 seconds to go. Now, they did some things that just, to me, I'm not a defensive coordinator, but these guys get paid a lot. And the head coach was a former defensive coordinator. With 13 seconds to go, and Kansas City had 3 timeouts.
Yeah.
And why you would design your defense to basically not let them get out of bounds. Who cares? They weren't going to go out of bounds anyway. Yes. And they had them lying on the sideline. That's what you run, I think.
If they have no timeouts.
That's correct.
Yeah.
So why you would funnel them in the middle, and they did not get close to Mahomes all game, so I don't even know why you'd rush 4 because you can't get to him anyway. Yeah, so you might as well just cover
rush 3 and drop everybody into just
and don't kick the ball with 13 seconds to go on your kickoff. Don't kick it in the end zone.
Yeah,
let them at least try to pick it up and run it in a couple seconds.
I mean,
I don't understand. I mean, I really for smart, and I guess what irritates me is you just hear so much about these professional football coaches. They spend all these hours watching film and game planning, but it doesn't. It seemed like the offensive coaches did.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem like the defensive coaches. It just made, to me, Buffalo should be playing. They wasted an epic performance by a great player.
Yeah.
And did Kansas City take advantage of it? Absolutely. They made plays.
Yeah.
But to me, those are 2 plays that should not have happened, I'll be honest with you. I mean, you can't put 2 people on Travis Kelce at the end. I mean, I just don't understand how you let people that open. I mean, if they make a throw and he goes up and catches it over 3 people, you clap your hand. He did all you could.
Yeah.
I could have made that throw, and I mean that. He was wide open, and I don't understand that. I don't understand. I don't know what you're even thinking. And in the NFL, any kick under 55 yards is a make.
Yeah.
Those guys don't miss field goals.
No.
They don't.
Well, except their kicker had put them in the position because he had missed an extra
I'm talking about at the end of the games. They don't. It's automatic. They do not miss them.
But it is ironic. It is ironic a little bit that the Chiefs were kind of in that position to have to kick for the tie because their kicker had missed an extra point in the field goal.
But the Chiefs defensively was bad too.
Well,
at least they put more pressure on.
Yeah, they may have an excuse because Tyrann Mathieu got knocked out of the game early, and that opened up the middle of the field.
Sure, that's right.
And the Bills exploited that.
They did.
But you're right about that defense the Bills were running at the end when they were covering the boundaries instead of the middle.
The number 1 defense in the game. So they were rated number 1.
Yeah.
Sure didn't look like it to me.
No. Well, and maybe it's easy. If your offense can do what their offense does, it may be easy to be the number one defense if the other team basically just has to throw to catch up with you all the time. Which is kind of what the Chiefs have done, too.
Right. But you got to make it a little bit harder with 13 seconds to go.
Now, talk about play calls. All right, let's go to this Titans-Bengals game. Because everybody's going to look at Ryan Tannehill and say he played poorly. And I'm not saying he didn't, but I am saying this.
Three interceptions.
Well, there are 3 plays in that game that have really nothing to do with him, even though 2 of them involve him. They have to do with the play call. All right, one of them is they go for the 2 instead of just kicking the extra point and having the 1-point lead.
Yeah, I didn't understand that one.
There's no point in that at that point in the game.
Yeah, it's first quarter.
Yeah, and so then the other one is, and basically you've survived 2 Bengals drives. They get kicked 2 field goals. So you're actually in better shape.
Maybe it's the second quarter they went for it. I don't know. It's first half.
Yeah, it was early enough in the game that you just take the extra point, take the points, take the lead.
Yes.
And because that does come back to bite you later.
Mm-hmm.
The other one is they're in the third quarter, I think it is. They're running the ball just down the Bengals' throat. And then they run this bubble screen that gets intercepted. And the thing about that bubble screen is it counts on Ryan Tannehill, but really it's the design of the play. The ball snapped to him. It's basically 1 second he turns and throws. He doesn't read the defensive back coming in because there's no read on the play. You know what I mean? So he just throws the ball because it's supposed to be blocked.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not blocked. So it gets picked off. Now, that goes on his stats, but really it's just a bad play call. I don't get it. If the team cannot stop you from running it downhill, why stop running it? Why start trying to run trick plays and bubble screens and all kinds of other jazz that are basically behind the line of scrimmage plays? They're negative plays when you call it.
Mm-hmm.
Then the other one is their 3rd and 1 in the fourth quarter. Again, the Bengals cannot stop the Titans' running game. They're just gashing them with these run plays, whether it's Derrick Henry or Devontae Foreman. And then they run a read option on a 3rd and 1, and Tannehill keeps the ball and gets tackled for a 2-yard loss or 1-yard loss, whatever.
Maybe he should have handed it off.
Well, why even call it?
It's a read option. Yeah.
Just give the ball just call a Derrick Henry run. He's going to run over somebody for a yard unless your offensive line doesn't block anybody. And those 3 plays, I thought, were just terrible. Now, that interception in the first half by Tannehill was a bad throw. The interception late that basically sealed the game was it
didn't seal it. It gave Cincinnati the ball where they went down and scored.
Yeah, well, it didn't seal it. It set the Bengals up to win the game,
that's
basically.
Correct. Yes.
So to me, it's like talking about these smart NFL coaches. They outsmart themselves sometimes. You've got this thing that's working. The Bengals can't really do anything about it. And if I'm the head coach on that team, I'm on the mic saying if we throw a pass, I'm throwing you off the top of the stadium.
Well,
you're terminated.
I think you got it. I don't think even if you're successful running, I don't think at that level that all you can do is run. I think eventually you have to throw it some.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't just.
You do, but I think you have to throw it off of the run.
Right.
You can't. You don't run bubble screens or you don't run plays that are just basically gimmicky by their nature. You just run them off the run. You make because the defense is having to put extra people in there to stop your run game anyway, which means there are going to be places open on the field, and you just call those plays, it seems. I think sometimes people make football too complex.
Could be. They do. I mean, it seemed like Buffalo did defensively.
Yes, it is.
They made it too complex. But, you give Cincinnati, you give Joe Burrow, he's an active player.
Yeah.
Second-year player, and he's probably elevated himself into top 8 in the league?
Yeah.
Top 6? I don't know. I mean, it seems like the AFC has got every great quarterback outside of Rodgers and Brady, and who knows how long they're going to play.
I think we saw this past weekend they may be past that great point. I think I
don't know about that. I thought
Rodgers was not good on that.
No. He did not play good, but he's a great player. He's MVP of the league. Come on, man. And he's a great player. And he played uninspired.
Yeah.
Bad. I just did not think he played very well. Brady was really good, to be honest with you. He got the heck beat out of him, but I thought he played really well.
I didn't think he played poorly. And the truth of the matter is the Rams
quarterback was great.
Yeah, and going back to defensive calls, all right, that pass Matthew Stafford threw to Kupp.
Yeah.
That set them up for the game-winning field goal.
All-out blitz, no safeties.
Yeah, and Kupp just ran that seam route, and he and Stafford must have seen it, and Stafford just dropped back and chucked it. And it was incredible. It was just an incredible play by both of them, really, when you get down to it.
Yeah, again, it's a defensive call that's, to me, strange because unlike Buffalo, the Rams had no timeouts left.
Yes.
So that is when you can't let them over the top of you, and you let them.
That's the only way you're going to get beat.
Just let them throw in front of you and tackle them, and the clock's going to run out. I mean, it was down to 27 seconds. The only way to lose is that.
Yeah, they needed all 30 of those.
So they had no safeties. It was what they called the zero blitz. They brought everybody, and you're vulnerable to get thrown over the top. And I don't buy a quarterback who's got an incredible arm.
Yeah.
I didn't understand that either. I mean, it's fascinating drama to watch these games.
Yeah, it is.
San Francisco coming back at the end. I mean, it's just so much drama.
Let's stop on San Francisco real quick. Talking about a coach who did not outthink himself is Kyle Shanahan. And people kind of pick on him sometimes for outthinking himself. They needed 7 yards on a third down. They got the player, and they said, we're giving this man the ball. They gave him the ball. He got the 7 yards. They didn't try anything crazy.
You're talking about Deebo Samuel.
Yeah. They didn't try anything crazy. They knew what they needed. They knew the guy they had to get the ball to, and that's what they did. And he got the yardage, and they kicked the field goal.
True, but, they also took a block kick with 4 minutes to go in the game to tie it. Yeah, I mean, offensively, Kyle Shanahan's a great coach, I think. But let's be fair. It was 10-3 they were behind with 4 minutes to go in the game.
Look, I think he is a great coach. I think his team is not very good.
Well,
but he has
they are who they are.
Really
That's correct.
And they know to get him
and
the
if
ball.
you've watched Green Bay play all year, like I've watched them play, they have allowed teams, even though they were 14-3, something like that. They have allowed teams to stay in games all year.
Yeah,
they would get leads all year and basically limp home. And this time it finally bit them in the butt. They let San Francisco stay around them. The only scoring, it's hard to. I don't feel sorry for you when you score 10 points.
No.
And they did. I mean, Rodgers only had 4 completions the second half, and he did not play inspired to me. To be the MVP, to be a great quarterback. I mean, he didn't do a lot. I mean, let's just be honest with you. But I do think part of it is, I do think the coach of Green Bay is really good, but I think he gets really conservative. And
he may outthink himself in the opposite direction of some of these other folks.
He gets really conservative, and he has a fantastic quarterback. No matter, I was not happy with how Rodgers acted this year and all the whining and complaining he did all year.
That goes all the way back to last year when that season ended.
That's right, and blame people, but he did not do enough.
Yeah,
After San Francisco tied it at 10-10 on the block punt, there was 4 minutes to go.
Yeah.
Green Bay got the ball back, and they did nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
And you turned it back over to San Francisco, and Rodgers never got the ball back.
Yeah. And that goes. I guess that goes to my point about Kyle Shanahan not outthinking himself. They got the ball back, and he said, "This is what we got to do," and they basically executed.
Yeah, they made some throws though, but on that one, that was a running play. You're right.
Yeah,
that was a running play. But that's he knows his team well.
Yeah,
and wouldn't surprise me at all. They'll go in and beat the Rams.
Yeah, because
the Rams have choked up leads.
They're just like the Packers.
They defensively they choke up leads all the time.
Yeah, you would think as good as their defense is, if they got a lead on somebody, nobody would ever come back on them.
It hasn't been that way.
No, and that's kind of incredible because they are generally so good in the first half of so many games.
I thought we saw the Super Bowl champion play. And it was the winner of Buffalo, Kansas City. I really thought Buffalo was probably going to do it, but Kansas City's right there with them.
Yeah.
So I'm not crazy about Kansas City's defense, but after watching Buffalo's defense play, I thought that was disheartening too.
Yeah, I would say this, and this sounds ridiculous. If the 49ers were to get to the Super Bowl and play the Chiefs, I would give them a puncher's chance just because. They're not going to do they're not going to outthink themselves, generally speaking. They're going to do what they do, and it's going to be a winning formula or not.
I think you're going to see that game.
I do too, because the other thing about the 49ers is this is the other truism of football. If you can get after the quarterback with your front four, your defense looks great. And as good as Patrick Mahomes is, if they can put pressure on him and they don't have to surrender gimmicks on defense and that kind of stuff to cover their receivers or double cover their receivers, that gives them a better chance too. And I think they're good enough to do that as well.
Well, they got to beat the Rams first.
Yeah.
And Kansas City's got to beat Cincinnati.
Yeah. I jokingly told someone I think the final score of that Cincinnati Chiefs game will be something like 50-32, and people are going to be like, "That was a good game," but the score going into the fourth quarter was like 50-10.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
I mean, just the ability of the Chiefs to score is just amazing. I mean, even though they were settling for field goals against the Bills
They
a
were.
lot, they were still putting points up on the board just about every drive.
They are great offensively, no doubt about it.
One last thing on the NFL front. So do you think we've probably seen the last of Brady? I mean,
No.
You don't think so?
Nope.
It felt to me like the Buccaneers put every egg in the basket for this year. And I don't know if they can repeat that next year.
I don't. I think he loves to play,
Yeah?
and he's good at it.
Yeah.
Probably had the best. I mean, second in the league MVP?
Yeah.
I mean, he threw over 40 touchdown passes. I mean, he was great. His team let him down.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, Antonio Brown let him down.
True.
Of course, that's on them too.
Right.
But I'm saying he lost 2 offensive lineman starters just for that last game. So
Yeah.
I think he still wants to play. I'll be honest with you. I mean, I would be surprised. I mean, he can walk away. Anything's happened. He'll turn 45, before the start of the next. So he can walk away. But he just, to me, if he's going to walk away, I figured he'd walk away last year.
Well, I think they went all in when it comes to the salary cap situation and that kind of thing, bringing all the guys back, bringing in the extra people and that kind of thing, that I'm not sure they can maintain that expenditure into next season. I haven't looked at it to know, but I know that they basically put everything into the season. And maybe that's the deal, is maybe they are incapable of keeping the key parts of that team together financially.
Could be.
And that may be the thing. It may not have anything to do with whether or not Brady wants to play. It may be that he looks up and says, well, we just can't do this again. And that doesn't mean he's done. It just means I don't know that the Buccaneers can do it again.
Well, he may be playing somewhere else then.
I mean, if so, that may be the way it works out. I mean, I'm curious to see how it works. But, yeah, the Buccaneers spent so much on this particular season. I just don't know that they can maintain that.
That's a good point.
Anyway, that's the our takes on the NFL weekend. Anything else you can think of?
No, I do wish they would change the playoff rules for overtime.
I do too.
Just for the playoffs.
Yeah.
I'll just put a quarter up. Let them play.
Well, see,
10 minutes. Let's go play.
Yeah.
At the end of 10 minutes, we'll see what happens.
yeah, because it was clear in that Chiefs-Bills game, whoever got the ball was winning it.
Yes.
Because neither defense could stop the other one at that point. They were a combination of bad scheming and just exhaustion on the
I
defensive
guess
part.
exhaustion. I don't understand that. I mean, I don't understand it. I mean, why are all of a sudden you're just tired now? I don't understand that. The offense is never tired. Those receivers are running gassers each time too.
Yeah, I think it's
a cop out. I'll be honest with you. I do. Now maybe the linemen
that's what
get tired of rushing,
Yes.
but why?
Well,
I mean, are they that heavy that you can't? I mean, is that it? I mean, they're getting paid millions of dollars. I would think you can rush occasionally, and if you can't rush, cover somebody. I don't know. Try something else. But it is. It is amazing how that works. And, of course, the other philosophy is if it's that easy to score in the last quarter, then won't you just run that same wide-open offense all night?
But, see, we see teams try to do that, and it doesn't work out. So there's got to be other factors.
I guess. But I don't see them do. I don't see people just start off and hurry up.
No, but people have tried that run and gun offense. And all that, just the high-octane offenses. And a lot of times they can't maintain it for the whole of a game.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
there's got to be something to that.
I guess, but that gone. How about don't get tired?
Yeah, there you go. That's what every coach should say. Don't get tired.
Yeah, do
That'll
not get tired.
John, those linemen are built to be bears, not cheetahs.
I guess that's right, but clearly the rush does slow down. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, something's up. All right, it's Brown Sports Bag brought to you by McDonald's in Glasgow. We'll be right back.
Presented by McDonald's of Glasgow, it's back to the studio with James and John, the Brown Sports Bag.
Well, John, we basically had a pretty light action of high school basketball last week, and And we didn't have a show last week because I was in the COVID protocols. I was out there like those NFL players, I guess. Although I did get vaccinated, and it wasn't bad on me. I had a little bit of a head cold kind of situation, a day where I had a little bit of a fever. But overall, I was fine. But I had to miss a game. I think I couldn't make it to a game because of that. And then most all the games got canceled last week, either because people were in the COVID protocols or red counties,
weather,
snow, all that jazz. So not a whole lot to talk about from last week. But this week's going to be pretty busy. Maybe. We've got a pretty busy schedule, especially when it comes to like 15th district things, because Barron plays basically 3 15th district games this week, starting tonight with Monroe County. And then Friday night, they're hosting Glasgow. And then Saturday is the makeup game with Allen County Scottsville.
And the girls throw in Russellville tomorrow.
Yeah, and the girls play Russellville tomorrow. So they got 4 games this week, 3 of them in the district. Do you think from the beginning of the season, when we kind of painted the picture, let's start on the boys' side, how the district looked, basically Barron and Glasgow looked like the 2 best teams, and Monroe and Allen were the other 2 teams in the district this year. Do you think that's changed at all?
No, do you?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think anything's changed.
No.
I mean, Monroe is really young. I mean, they've got 8th graders that play.
Yeah.
And so, they're young. And Allen has won, 4 or 5 games, I think.
Yeah.
So, and Barron and Glasgow have not played each other. So,
right.
But Barron has, even though the record is, I think, 8-8. I think they have a COVID loss with Allen, but that's going to be changed.
Yeah, because it's a
make-it up game.
Yeah.
That's right. So Barron has easily defeated Monroe and Allen, both the 2 times they played, and Glasgow has defeated
Monroe.
Yeah. Have not played Allen yet.
Yeah.
But Glasgow's overall schedule and resume is better than Monroe and Allen.
Mm-hmm.
So Glasgow's had ups and downs, and Barron has struggled to score, and they're like at 8-8 and some things like that. So, I mean, I don't think anything's changed in the district at all. And I mean, Barron and Glasgow seem to be the best 2 teams in the district. I think the biggest question is how far are they from Greenwood, Warren Central, and Bowling Green, region-wise?
Right now, I'd say on that front, even though Bowling Green beat Warren Central last week, I think it was 46-42.
Yeah, it was a COVID mess, too.
Yeah, Warren Central was missing 3 players for the game. They had been on COVID protocols, I think, for the week before that game.
Right.
I don't think anything's changed there. I think they're still the best team. Now, the Greenwood win over Bowling Green on Friday or Saturday, whichever day it was actually pretty impressive because Cade Stinnett went out in the first quarter.
Yep, ankle injury. Or foot injury.
Yeah.
Foot, ankle, or something.
And they still managed to win that game 72-71, which tells you quite a bit about the younger players on that Greenwood team. And Aaron Brown, I think is his name.
Yeah, you can win a game without your best player. Can you win after multiple weeks? And I think he's out multiple weeks.
Yeah. So I guess the big question there would be, will he be back, and what percentage will he be back when the district tournament starts?
True.
Because I don't know how it's eventually going to shake out. Warren Central and Bowling Green have split. Bowling Green, Greenwood have split. Warren Central and Greenwood have not played yet, I don't think. I think their game that they were supposed to play, which was the week before last, got canceled.
Yeah, I'm not for sure. I just know those 3 teams are by far right now ahead of everybody else.
Yes, they are.
I think from the Barron and even Glasgow perspective in boys around here, this past week you almost can be a reset.
Yes.
Barron was not even allowed to practice. So they've just been in Saturday and Sunday. I'm not for sure about Glasgow. Glasgow at least got a game in. They played Warren East.
They played LaRue last Tuesday.
Got hammered against LaRue.
Yeah, they played Warren East
I don't think
Saturday.
that did anything for their confidence. Got beat about 30.
Yeah.
And lost to Warren East. So they've lost 3 straight.
Yeah, I think they've lost 4 of their last 5.
Yeah, so they're really struggling. They kind of got hot there for a while, and they've really hit the skids again. So I don't know. Maybe some of this time off has been. Sometimes it's good, maybe, especially if you're struggling, maybe it's almost like a reset. So we have about 3.5 weeks left?
Yeah, thereabouts.
Yeah, 11 or 12 games left at the most, top end, and then we'll be ready for the tournament. It's been sort of choppy a little bit, not as bad as last year.
Yeah.
But now, we didn't really have weather problems last year, so now we've went into weather and this crazy COVID stuff and things like that. So, I don't know, maybe it'll help both teams. Maybe there'll be a reset. But, It's weird just that Glasgow and Allen has not played yet, and it's January 23rd, 24th. That Barron and Glasgow has not played, and it's January 24th.
Yeah.
That's weird. Not really crazy about it, to be honest with you. It's kind of hard to get a picture of what's going on.
Yeah, I like it when they get those games in like before Christmas or immediately thereafter, and then it's basically a month, and then they play another kind of round of games.
Yeah.
But the schedules all got jacked up last year, and they've not been corrected yet. Hopefully next year, when some things make a change, we can kind of get into that 2 different blocks of district games.
Right. Well, we'll talk about that later, but there's, Monroe's leaving the district, so
yeah.
I'm sure they'll still play. I don't know if they'll play home and away, but you're going to have to add another Warren East game.
Yeah. Meanwhile, back to the Glasgow teams, the boys and girls play Greene County tomorrow, and then they play Barron Friday and Greenwood on Saturday.
Yeah.
So it's a good run of a test for Glasgow. I mean,
Glasgow's continued to, steadily improve a little bit. They beat Warren East. Now Warren East, listen, they only won 3 games, but they did knock Warren East off, and they've won I think 3 of their last 4. Barron's
they've won 8 of 11 since they started 0-4.
Barron has won. Girls have won I think 3 straight, but they're coming off a pause too. So, We'll kind of see. I think Glasgow Greene County should be a pretty decent game. Greene's normally really good. They're a little down this year, very young.
Yeah.
Have trouble scoring, and Glasgow has trouble with that too, so it'll probably be a low-scoring game. But we'll see where both schools match up on Friday.
Yeah, and on the girls' side, I still think Barron is just head and shoulders above the other 3. But those other 3, it's turned into, I think, a competitive, scrappy situation for them.
I agree with that, per se. I don't know if I'm going to put head and shoulders. I do think they're clear number 1 in the district. Allen has played so much better as the year has gone on.
Yeah.
They have really, really improved, where they're getting, even when they're not winning, their games are much closer. They're scoring better than they've scored in years.
Yeah.
I'll give Coach Dunn credit. Monroe is they're 9-6. They're the team that always confuses me, because I do think they have some talent, and with Paisley Ford, and they're starting to play a little bit better. They got a good win against Campbellsville. I think it was Saturday.
Yeah,
and they've won 3 in a row, and starting to her and the Veach girl.
Yeah, starting
to put points up, and they're capable of scoring at a higher rate than some of the other schools.
Yeah,
and the first game between Barron and Monroe was not even. Barron beat them 40.
Yeah.
That won't happen tonight.
Yeah.
Monroe's played 2 games in the last 3, and I think it's going to help them, and girls and boys, even against the Barron boys. Monroe's got a little bit more recency to them. I think will help them. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't be surprised that both games tonight, Barron and Monroe are competitive.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how things have changed since they played earlier in the season.
It's never good short term to have like a 10-day layoff in basketball.
Yeah.
Short term. Maybe good long term, but it is hard to keep that rhythm and so forth.
Yeah, because at long term, all those little nagging injuries you probably have, you've gotten a chance to get them healed.
But Monroe has played, especially the boys. I think the girls too. They played. This will be their 3rd game in 4 nights. I think that's an advantage going into tonight's game.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Real quick, we alluded to the changes that are coming next year. Last week at the KHSA Board of Control meeting, they voted to move some things around in the 4th region. They moved Monroe County to the 16th district, which historically where they had been, but they had not been there for 15 years since they had joined the 15th district. They requested last year to go back to the 16th. Part of what was in the letter from the superintendent to the Board of Control was competitive disadvantage, and they mentioned geography as well, but their trips are not shorter in the 16th district since there were no other changes made. It'll take them over an hour to get from their place to Russell County in the 16th district. And I think they have another hour-long trip maybe to Clinton County in that district as well. Those trips weren't as long in the 15th, but they put them over there. It's now a 5-team district with Monroe, Cumberland, Clinton, Russell County, and Metcalfe County. The people who were already in the 16th district were vehemently opposed to Monroe County joining the district. They sent letters, went to visit the Board of Control at their November meeting. They were just vehemently opposed to it. Meanwhile, in the 15th district, that means there became an opening there. They moved Warren East into the 15th district, which really, that's a significant change.
Yes.
In all the non-classified sports, which is where this applies. Things like volleyball, baseball, softball, soccer. which people probably forget about that, but soccer and also, the basketball and that kind of thing. Significant difference. And truthfully, geographically speaking, it's not that bad.
No, it's not bad.
The trips to Warren East or from Warren East to Allen or Glasgow or Barron are not, they're all 30 minutes thereabouts. So it's not that bad geographically. The likeness, I think, of the schools themselves is similar in terms of they're all close. Barron's the largest, but Allen, Glasgow, and Warren East aren't all that different population-wise. They're close to the same size schools within 100 or 150 students or so. So, I mean,
school size has never been a factor. They've specifically said they do not consider school size.
Yeah.
I mean, they do not. It's geography.
Yeah.
And that's why I was surprised that Monroe was allowed to go back.
Yes.
I was very, very surprised.
Yeah.
Because they kind of went against what their standards were, to be honest with you, KSLSA.
Mm-hmm.
And clearly they're going to go back to a district in which that district did not want them to come back.
Yeah.
The district's not against Monroe. What Metcalfe and Clinton and Cumberland is against is a 5-team district.
Yeah.
Which makes it harder for all of them to get out.
It's
That's their complaint. Go, wait a minute now. So you're making it even harder because you're adding and Monroe has just been down, but they're not traditionally down. They're traditionally a very formidable school.
No,
but they've just been down lately.
When they joined the district in 2006,
they came in with guns blazing.
Yeah.
They were loaded.
Yes.
That's exactly right, and they're just down right now. So I'm a little surprised at that, to be honest with you, that their motion was passed, I guess you could say. That surprised me. It did, once that happened, I've said all along, Warren East coming to the Barron District made perfectly good sense.
Yeah.
And it does make good sense. And Warren East will be, I know Warren East is happy.
Oh, yeah.
And no offense to Barron, Allen, and Glasgow, but, for them, they haven't been in a regional basketball tournament since the 1990s, I think.
Yeah.
And to get away from
97 was
away from Bowling Green and all those schools, I know. Listen, they're not going to an easy district,
no.
But they're going to be much more competitive in basketball, and in particular, they will be a major force in baseball, softball, and soccer.
Yeah,
major force. I mean, Warren East has been in the state finals two out of the last 3 years in softball, I believe.
Yeah,
I believe that's right. And made it deep this year.
Mm-hmm.
They got an incredible softball program, and their baseball program. They've had pitchers recently drafted.
Mm-hmm.
Really good baseball program, just in a tough district, and their soccer will add add more strength and competitive balance to our district. And that way, it's kind of neat to watch them come in.
Yeah, and that's my thing. Whenever I was looking at it, is like. When I mentioned the population thing, but I just was using those numbers. But competitively, and the investment of these schools in this district are all co-equal at the moment.
Right, I agree with that. And competitiveness. If it was a competitive situation, you wouldn't add the Christian school to the Bowling Green district,
right?
Who've never won I don't know if they've ever really won a varsity game.
Well, and they've only really been playing this KHSA schedule for 2 years.
Yeah, and they have no girls program either.
Right.
So now Bowling Green, they go back to a 4-team district.
Yeah.
They go, which is, come on, I don't know about that.
Well, and the thing was, the other real logical move that could have been made would have been to put South Warren in the 13th district, even though it doesn't sound like this is logical to start with.
Yeah,
it's 17 miles to Franklin Simpson, 22 to Logan County. They have direct access to both those places based on where their school is located. Foundation Christian is on Three Springs Road, which has no direct access to that parkway, and it's in a more 14th district location. I mean, it's closer to Bowling Green and Warren Central than Warren East was, and just mileage wise. And so a lot of people were like, well, why don't they put them in the 13th? Well, geographically speaking, that actually didn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think the only real question is, why did they go ahead and put Monroe back in the 16th? That did not seem like a good move. But the other moves actually are logical.
Right.
It's just that one is the one that is probably planting so many, what the heck are they up to ideas at the moment.
Yeah. I'm not opposed to shaking up districts and regions every 10 years anyway. I think it's kind of neat to see different things. And I mean, the fourth region is a weird region. It's not, there's way too far from Todd Central to Russell County to Clinton County. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
Right.
And Todd Central has more rivals with the second region than they do with our region.
Well, and they used to be in the second region.
And the second region is short of teams.
Yeah.
So it doesn't, there's a lot of things that could be self-corrected a little bit. The third region, and there's actually schools in Barron's district. I'm talking about a county district that's not even in our region, Caverna.
Yeah. Right.
So there's a lot of situations that could be rectified if they wanted to. I'm not opposed to any looking at these things every so many years. So I think it's kind of neat. It's interesting how it came about.
Well, I do think the KHSA, they are at a point where they really need to take the state and kind of redo all the districts and regions from one end to the other.
Seems like redistricting is popular.
Yeah,
everywhere. Politically,
might as well do it every 10 years.
Politically, athletically, why not?
Yeah, might as well do it every 10 years. Just follow these crazy maps that people put out.
That's right.
All right, it's a Brown Sports Bag brought to you by McDonald's in Glasgow. We'll be right back.
Presented by McDonald's of Glasgow, it's back to the studio with James and John, the Brown Sports Bag.
All right, John, we just decided to take a breather there for a minute.
Shortest break ever.
It was indeed. 5 seconds of some mumbling in the background. But anyway, we're going to talk a little bit about the women's college basketball. We got about 10 minutes here left in the show. Unfortunately, you didn't get to call your game on Saturday with the WKU women.
No, I was in a little quarantine myself.
Yeah. We all got to take a little 5-day break sometimes, I suppose. But they're on a roll right now, the Lady Toppers.
9 straight.
Yep. And what is that, 7-0 in the conference at the moment?
7-0 in the conference, 9 straight. I think they're 15-4.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, quite. Because last year maybe there were a few questions about Collins' team and that kind of stuff.
Well, they struggled last year. They had the first losing season forever. Of course, it was. I give everybody a clean start over. It was the crazy COVID year, and it was just their star player Renee Melchidewe didn't get back until January, so she missed. So it was just a weird year. But you talking about an incredible coaching job he's done this year, which starts with recruiting.
Yes.
He starts 4 freshmen, true freshmen, not redshirt freshmen, not a freshman that played somewhere else and transferred in. 4 right out of high school freshmen. Mm-hmm. And 58% of their scoring comes from the freshman class. Yeah. And then you add their only senior, who has just been Morel Abdelgaway, who's just incredible. She's averaging 19.5 points a game, about 9 rebounds a game. She's scored over 34 times. She's playing out of her mind. She's probably player of the year in the conference. And you combine that, and they play a style that makes – if you ever get a chance, you need to go watch them. They are so fun to watch. They put enormous pressure on people, both offensively and defensively. Yeah, they pressure you on defense, but offensively they score at an incredible pace. And if you can't keep up with them, they'll blow you out. They're neat to watch. They really are fun.
The other thing about last year is that it was kind of a gap year in a lot of ways because the senior class that was there the year before was a very good senior class. Right. And, he basically lost everything that was offense, rebounding, and all of that jazz because of the graduation of those players. And so he was in a position, he was going to have to rely on some untested players last year. And as you mentioned, Renee not getting back until January because she was stuck in Egypt, as I recall, because that's where she was from. Is that how that had worked out?
Yeah.
And so it was a year where I think some people maybe gave him some people who were paying attention understood it was going to be a tough year no matter what had happened last year.
Yeah.
Even without COVID, but it was even compounded by that.
I'm a big fan of Greg. I think he's a fabulous coach. Yeah. I love how his defensive schemes. He never plays the same way. I asked him one time, about he switches defense a lot. And what's amazing to me is you got to have smart players, and to have so many young players. And to be able to do that tells me their IQ, basketball IQ is really good. And it's rare that you have a 4-year starter who could be the most improved player in the country. Yeah. How does that happen? She averaged 10 points a game her junior and sophomore year. I'm talking about Abdelgawad. And now it jumps from 10 to 19. That's incredible. You rarely see improvement that much between your junior and senior year. And she's been out of this world.
Yeah, and as you mentioned with the freshman class that he brought in, I mean, he's set up to have a good run here over the next 3 or 4 years.
Yep.
Healthy, those kinds of things.
Yep, and add a piece here, a piece there. Yeah, he really has. Now the conference. The conference schedule gets tougher because they go to UAB this week and they go to Middle. Middle's really good. So and they got Marshall coming up, and those are some of the tougher teams on the schedule. So they're not going to finish undefeated in the conference. I mean, I'd be shocked at that. So there's going to be some more. There's going to be some bumps on the road, but man, they've been pretty darn good.
Now, I saw some Kentucky women's fans were a little upset because they feel like Howard's going to have her career wasted with Kentucky.
Yep.
And I would say there was a lot of promise around that program, but they do seem to not be playing up to what people expected them to do.
Well, they've had issues, and they've lost 4 or 5 in a row, fell out of the top 25. They played yesterday. I watched some of their game yesterday, and they only had 7 players dressed.
Yeah.
They've had I know one they've kicked off, and another one has been suspended, and they've had 2 injuries. But they're down to 7, and it's hard to win with 7, to be honest with you. And Ryan Howard is mainly their only offensive threat, and they have. I'm not saying the wheels have fallen off, but they have really, really, really struggled, to say the least.
Yeah, and it's those fans were. I mean, their point was on in the sense that Howard. Do you think maybe she's the best player to ever play at Kentucky, or? I mean, a lot of people, I think, maybe feel like she's right there, one of the top players.
She's one of the top players, yeah.
And they're kind of lamenting what could have been with the talent that she has. But yeah, they have not.
It's not quite the Matthew Mitchell era, which is run and gun and press, and they had players every which way, and that style of play is gone. They don't have enough players to do it that way.
Yeah.
But she's Coach Elsie. It's only her second year, so she's going to have some good recruiting classes because you can get way behind in the SEC quickly.
Yeah, I mean, it is the best women's basketball conference in the nation, you think?
They're up there.
The Denver Pac-12?
Pac-12 is good. ACC is really good.
That's true.
I mean, Louisville and North Carolina State are both in the top 5.
Yeah, and speaking of that, I mean, Louisville, meanwhile, is playing. I don't know if they're playing above what maybe people expect.
Probably. I mean, they did get beat by North Carolina State.
Yes.
On the road, and they were up 14 going in the fourth quarter and got outscored 30-9 in the last quarter.
Yeah.
So
that was a bit of a blip.
So they do have a problem sometimes with scoring. They go in these droughts, but man, they're good defensively. And Jeff Wallace is an incredible coach.
Yeah.
I think the women, if they're not outdrawing the men right now at Louisville, they're head and head. They're really, really close. And
their fans are certainly happier with their program than they are with the men's program.
Where the men's program is really, really struggling, the women's program has the women's sports at Louisville has been outstanding.
Yeah.
The volleyball getting, all the way to the finals or Final Four, and the women's program is they just continue to roll, they've got great leadership.
Yeah, I put on my notes that we weren't going to talk about the men's because they weren't worth talking about. Kentucky is good. They have some injury issues at the moment, but Louisville and Western Kentucky at the moment are both.
Well, it's sad with Louisville because you'd like to see, they do have some local connection.
Yeah, with Mason Faulkner. And he actually played.
He's not played bad. Mason's not the problem.
No.
But they are a team searching for answers. A team that it's just so obvious they have chemistry problems.
Yeah. They
clearly have trouble scoring. I mean, Louisville is at a bad place right now.
Yeah.
And they're truly struggling. They got a big game tonight. They go to Virginia, but they're running out of time. And right now the fans have turned on them.
Yeah.
Turned more on the coach than the team, but it's no fun to be part of that.
Well, and they have kind of 2 teams on one team. They have a group that seems to play well together, but may not be the best group of players.
Well, I believe that's who I'd go with.
And then they have a group that may be more talented, but do not play well together at all.
Yeah.
And so, it's I think that's why maybe the fans are upset with the coach so much, is because he doesn't seem to be making a decision about what the direction is going to be with the program.
Yeah, the minutes are divided up among almost 11 people.
Yeah.
And that's hard to get into any rhythm. Eventually, you got to just pick 7 or 8. That's who we're going to go with.
Yeah, unless you're going to play like a Rick Pitino, where
True.
you're just going to put 11 guys out there and just roll them in.
Yeah, if you're going to play 11, you need to be pressing
Yeah.
and playing at a high octane way, and that's not their style.
Yeah, and that's also. I mean, Louisville fans really love that style.
They did.
because it's worked well for them through the years. So, but like I said, and then WKU, they just they're struggling to win these road games.
They have not struggling. They hadn't won a road game.
True.
Yeah, they lost 2 on the Florida track. Yeah, just struggle. I mean, they don't have a lot of depth.
Yeah.
And they just have trouble finishing games. They lost a big lead the other night. They had like a 15-point lead and lost it down the stretch. And they're kind of in the mid-pack right now of Conference USA.
Yeah. And I don't know the talent level is there to get them out of it when we get to the conference. I mean, it may be.
No, they lost 2 kids they were desperately counting on.
Yeah. All right, Brown Sports Bag, brought to you by McDonald's of Glasgow. We'll be back next week.
Thanks for listening, and be sure and join James and John once again next Monday at 4 for the Brown Sports Bag, a local weekly sports machine presented by McDonald's of Glasgow.
Coming soon to your FM dial, this is Fox Sports Radio, WCDS Glasgow, AM 1230.